Jesus Trilogy, The Four Messiahs, Chapter 12, Part B. The nurse noticed the doctor's face turning a little pale. Beads of sweat were forming on his forehead. Oh, if he could just talk to old Doc Martin. Doc Martin would know what to do. Something wrong, doctor? He shook his head. Why do nurses always ask questions out loud in the presence of the patients, he thought. What's the matter, Doc? Is he okay? Elizabeth asked. He now wondered why Elizabeth called the baby a he. Nothing is wrong. Everything will be fine. He was glaring at the nurse. Here comes another one, Elizabeth wailed. The nurse, who had asked the wrong question, now tried to make up for her slip and grabbed Elizabeth's hand, coaching her as they breathed through another contraction. Dr. Luke went out of the room. Both Mary and Zacharias noticed the anxiety in his face. I think she's breech. He had not felt any fontanelle or suture lines. What's breech? Mary asked. Zacharias knew he had been called to a breech delivery a couple years ago. The baby had not made it. It was the saddest of funerals. He now folded his hands and began to pray, silently, of course. The baby should come through the birth canal head first. I think Elizabeth's baby is coming rump first. The doctor didn't bother to mention the green tinge to the fluid. It was a sign of baby in distress. But if the baby couldn't even come through the birth canal, it wouldn't matter. Most of the time, a breech baby will deliver okay, but sometimes they get stuck. Elizabeth is well older, and her tissues are not very pliable. Mary sat. She, too, turned pale. So what do we do? There isn't much we can do. We just have to hope Elizabeth dilates completely before she tires too much and that her tissues will stretch enough to allow the baby to deliver. But what if it doesn't? She kept quizzing him. It's a new technique named after Caesar. They cut through the abdominal wall and deliver the baby that way. Sounds terribly painful to me, Mary shuddered. It is, and the bleeding can be a real problem, Luke said. Do you do that procedure? No, only the big medical centers such as Rome, Athens, and maybe Jerusalem. You ever done or seen any? No. Help, came the cry. Dr. Luke went back into the bedroom. Zacharias had written on his tablet, We'll just have to trust in God, Mary. Dr. Luke is all we have. Luke had not mentioned the technique of conversion by external means, but in this age group he expected it to be futile. Mary did not have a total confidence in Dr. Luke as Zach seemed to. She wondered if little Jesus might be breech and prayed not. She and Zach sat in awful silence for about 20 minutes. Dr. Luke then reappeared. She's not dilating. Been 4 centimeters since I got here, he reported. Mary, can you do me a favor? Run over to my office and get me something? Yes. It's a dilating herb. I didn't bring it, but it may help, and we need all the help we can get. He told her where to find the herb and ran back into the bedroom. Mary took off running. She had excelled at track at school. Luke's office, which was attached to his house, was about a mile away. Despite her condition, she was now 4 months along. She ran like the wind. It was 3 a.m., and she prayed no one would accost her. She used the key to open the locked cupboard across the room and found the vial marked herb OB number 4. Then she found a jar of gel to mix the two. She relocked the cupboard and ran back as fast as she could to Elizabeth's house. Oh, good, you found it, Dr. Luke said. She's dilated to 5 now, but she's definitely breech. I tried to convert her, but it didn't work. This should help. Thank you. He took the vial and gel and went back into the bedroom. Carefully, the doctor mixed the two and applied the mixture to Elizabeth's cervix. He then sat back and waited. Nearly 2 hours passed while Dr. Luke dozed on and off. He had a full schedule beginning at 8 a.m. that morning and hoped this would not interfere. Why do babies always deliver at night, he wondered as he dozed. I gotta push! The word startled him back to reality. Everybody in the room, even Mary and Zach, woke up. Elizabeth was nice, but loud. Dr. Luke examined her. There was only a little lip left of the cervix. He would have liked her to go on to complete dilatation, but he figured he better take this window of opportunity and let her push. She had to be tired. He was. And he hadn't done anything. And push she did. He again noticed more green fluid on his examining finger, but thankfully no more blood. The next hour seemed like one long scream, but suddenly it was over. It's a boy! They all heard Dr. Luke shout the news at the top of his lungs. Congratulations, Elizabeth and Zacharias, he said, his voice softening. It's a boy, Elizabeth shrieked. How did she know, he thought, but he still couldn't figure it out. There was some green-stained fluid in the little guy's mouth, but the nurse quickly wiped it away. After sputtering a bit, the baby boy gave out the loudest cry Dr. Luke had ever heard from any newborn. The child continued to cry unabated for the next hour. They were happy that he was acting so healthy, but wished he would cool it a little. Right after the placenta was delivered, Elizabeth repeated, "It's a boy," and fainted. The nurse quickly got her smelling salts and took the patient's pulse. "Her pulse is strong, Doctor," Pamela said. "Thank you, nurse. Keep monitoring it, please." Elizabeth was bleeding fairly briskly, for she had torn quite severely, but Luke guessed that pressure, massage, and the glycolytic ointment would control it. Her pulse was strong. A sense of relief came over him, such as he had never experienced nor would ever experience again. "Shall I show him the baby, Doctor?" Nurse Pamela asked. "No, let me do the honor. Just keep massaging her uterus and watch for any change in pulse or increased bleeding." He took the still crying boy and walked out into the other room where Zach and Mary were sitting. The infant was wrapped in a blanket, and Mary and Zach came up and peered in the blanket at the quite hirsute baby boy. "He sure has got hair. What's his name, Zach Jr.?" Luke asked. "His name is John," old Zach said very loudly. Mary's eyes widened. "Nice name." Then Dr. Luke realized that Zacharias had just spoken for the first time in 9 months. And now Dr. Luke was the one who almost fainted. Mary steadied him and helped him, still carrying baby John to a chair. And yes, Johnny was still crying. Flashing through Dr. Luke's mind was the fact that neither he nor any of his consultants had ever found a reason for Zacharias' stroke. "His name is John," Elizabeth repeated from the other room. The bewildered and exhausted doctor was holding the screaming baby, and Mary was too overwhelmed to help. She sat. Waves of nausea now hit her. Zacharias was on his knees praying aloud in the corner of the room, and every now and then there would be a cry of agony from the bedroom. Finally, Pamela came out and surveyed the little scene. She said, "Doctor, you better bring the baby back into his mother before he catches his death of cold." "Right." Mary stayed on with Elizabeth for another month. John was a handful. He ate like mad, cried all the time, and grew more hair by the day. The ordeal of pregnancy, labor, and delivery had taken a lot out of Elizabeth. It was a long while before she was able to recover. Her leg edema decreased, but never completely subsided. Her large venous varicosities she developed forever reminded her of that terrible yet wonderful night of August 1st. Zacharias preached the sermon that first Sabbath after Elizabeth's delivery. The congregation was stunned. The Judah Times front page headline read, "Priest, his new father regains voice." In his sermon, Zacharias related his experience of not believing God's prediction about having a child at such an advanced age. He told of how God had said Zacharias' son would do an important work. But he did not go into detail, nor did he divulge Mary's secret. Some in the congregation speculated that little John might be the long-awaited Messiah, but Zach just let the rumors swirl and eventually die down. To his dying day, Zach always feared that God would again take away his voice, but God kept his promise and never did.